Looks like we're joined by some more guests here. So if you want to just cycle in and we'll get going. We're joined by Martin from General Bytes. General Bytes is one of the sponsors of the conference. So you guys all want to support them.
General Bytes.
General Bytes. So close. So close. But General Bytes, and they make Bitcoin ATMs. So Martin, how's it going? Welcome to the show. We're live.
It's been about a year, Thomas, since we last spoke.
Almost exactly a year, yeah.
It's been quite crazy, really.
Yeah?
The phone just kept ringing. The sales have been going really fast. We've been adding like lots of different coins. I think it's like 32 or 33 coins supported now. Nice. We only have like a few here at Parallel Polis because they dislike many other coins. So they have their preferences. But I think, it's not up to us. I'm sorry, my phone is still.
Everybody's messaging you. Martin, you're on YouTube. Yeah. You're on YouTube Live.
Everybody watches your show.
That's right. All the audience. Yes.
It's been a bit crazy. At times we thought it's like almost undoable, but now, production increased. We're getting like more locations, especially new countries. Like we're moving more into Asia. But we'll be adding some really cool new features. I can tell you, but then I'd have to kill you. So
and the audience, you'd have to go door to door. That would be tough.
But for now we've been adding like many different coins. We'll also be adding some new features. With currently second largest, I expect but the fastest growing. So for the past 9 months, let's say we're October, so 10 months, no? Yeah. So for since January, been almost fastest growing operator.
Wow. So you guys are based in the Czech Republic here?
Correct, and braided in Florida because most of our clients are in the US.
Interesting.
So for support wise, it's much better to be able to have the support here and in Florida. The moment office here closes, we switch over to PBX. So people in Florida now they have like from 3 a.m. until 5 p.m. support, and in the weekends. I think that's important to be closer to our customers there because in the US we see most Bitcoin ATMs. I don't know why. I really don't know.
Well, it is a big country, but I was going to say, is there anywhere else that you're seeing a lot of growth? Maybe any countries that people wouldn't expect that are now suddenly interested in the General Bytes Bitcoin ATMs?
We're seeing more machines going to Asia. I think they're gradually warming up for the whole crypto thing.
Nice.
Many countries that have not so ideal online transfers, like in the US, many people still use PayPal. Who uses PayPal? But it can be like in the US, it's easier than writing a check. Some people still write checks there.
It's amazing. You see them in the grocery station, and you're like, "Oh, I'm going to a different line. I'm going somewhere else. I'm not waiting for this process."
Still, right?
With that quill.
They have a blotter.
The ATMs make especially sense in those countries. Here in Europe, we see, like we've got in the Netherlands, we have Ideal, and it's like instant transfers that are hard to revoke. So that's nice for Bitcoin exchanges online. It's not so that's more difficult because we're competing with those other payment systems. But for many people, it's the first crypto experience they have, and I think that it's important. We also see much more regulations, though.
Yes, certainly.
Europe just got their AML D5, which is AML Anti-Money Laundering Directive, version D5, and it's supposed to. Version D4 was introduced not so long ago, but before even the ink dried up on version D4, they were already working on D5 and including all wallet providers, exchanges, Bitcoin ATMs. So crypto is becoming like assimilated by this whole regulatory framework. You'd think that makes it easier to get a bank account as a crypto company, but no.
No, not yet, no.
However, we did make sure that our clients, they run their own server instead of like having the central server. Many of the ATM manufacturers do that on purpose because they like to get a commission out of their clients.
Sure.
So to do that, it's human nature to try and centralize and stay in control. But we're all about decentralization with cryptocurrency. Yes. So if we want cryptocurrency and decentralized networks to succeed, the architecture behind it should also be decentralized. And even though it means giving up a little bit of control, we can't make pretty pictures of how much revenue our clients make, but on the other hand, it's not our revenue to count. So,
and that does seem to always be the way people see this beautiful decentralized Bitcoin, and they say, "Wow, I could attach a centralized business or a centralized foundation to that." And Coinbase comes along, and BitPay, and all these other people.
Exactly.
They're like, "We'll build a copy of it, and it'll just attach right here." But you could just use the actual Bitcoin, the real distributed, decentralized Bitcoin.
And you bring up the points of anti-money laundering and know your customer and all these other stuffs and regulations that you need in a debt-based fiat system, because you necessarily rely on your counterparty, right? There is always counterparty risk involved on the base layer of any fiat debt currency, and therefore you need to know with whom you're doing business. Well, in Bitcoin, it is a complete paradigm shift, right? You no longer care who your counterparty is because you do not trust them, right? And you verify for yourself. So having these know your customer and anti-money laundering, in my opinion, doesn't make any sense whatsoever in Bitcoin, because it is a fundamentally different currency system. So do you think that we still need know your customer and AML in Bitcoin?
Cryptocurrency-wise, no, but because the ATMs also use like fiat currency, and they fall into the regulatory framework, it's also the most visible part of the cryptocurrency ecosystem, and it will be the first one that gets moved out if you don't comply. So yes, the machines have all these features built in, but I think we made it decentralized. So if you have 20 different operators, you have 20 different places where those AML, KYC data is like stored. So there's no central place to get it. So we make it at least, make them work for their data, So I think it's really helping. But we're still compliant, but all the features are usually switched off, and it's up to the owner or operator to actually enable what they need. And we always advise, try to be the best boy in class, or just comply and don't do any crazy things. So, and if there are no biometrics are required, definitely leave them off.
No.
Like in the US, for example, you need to have a phone number. You need to check whether that person is really the person purchasing on your ATM. So all these things like one-time pins and stuff via phone. Unfortunately, we have to comply with that, because otherwise the machine will be all gone in no time. So we keep updating the software, so to add features or to change features, but we don't recommend setting it on or being over curious.
Sure.
Just comply, keep a low profile, and do the thing, I think.
There's definitely no reason to collect more data on your customers than you need to. Follow the laws is a good one, and I think this is a great way for people to get into Bitcoin, because they're used to using a normal ATM. It's not that different to use a crypto ATM. Do people have to bring their own wallets, or does the machine do paper wallets?
No, the machine does paper wallets, but the larger series, BMTM3. The one with the neon bezel.
Yes.
They can give out these NFC cards.
Oh, fantastic!
So then it's nice, especially nice for operators. And if they have a sponsor, the cards are standard NTEC cards by NXP. They're used widely in the hospitality industry worldwide. So they have these like locks in hotels. It's similar technology. You can print them with your logo on it, so people have they grasp the concept. Exactly. You have those from last year or not?
That's from this year.
Don't show the private keys. No private keys.
Wait.
Too common.
No.
Did you memorize the squares then?
Do you want to tell the people a little bit about the badges this year? Because they have little red and black buttons, and I already pushed the red one, and the world didn't blow up. I'm not sure about the black one, but.
Yeah, that was really nice. The guy who made them is also talking at the Parallel Polis event. It's if you look at it, it's like an NFC antenna, and the NFC antenna is large enough to make it easy to scan.
Okay.
Unfortunately, NFC can also be scanned from remote.
Sure.
Max is showing a copy to the world.
Great.
And then instead of having the NXP chips in there, this is from the Monero team. He created them for DEF CON, the hackers conference.
Oh, nice.
In
Las Vegas.
Yes.
Yeah.
So this, instead of using the NXP chips, you use I think STM or SMT. I don't know exactly, but they're also NFC chips. with a large antenna, so they're easy to scan. There's 2 buttons, so there's 2 chips, so you have 2 wallets basically, and one you can store like 2 private keys or public and a private key in there. But the antenna is disconnected.
Right.
So only when you press the button, you actually enable the chip. And it's like the idea is super simple, because we're all thinking about recovery seats and multi-sig and Shamir shared secret, but just remove the freaking antenna.
There you go.
And then it's secure, as long as nobody else presses the button for you.
Yeah.
So
if a lady comes up to you, starts pushing your buttons, just say no.
Just say no.
It depends on the buttons. But he's having a talk, so I'm really curious. We had to make a little small modification in the antenna in the ATMs to be able to accept this model chips.
Nice.
But it was a matter of just compiling, different library and flash the firmware and ta-da!
Fantastic.
Now the whole world is one step further. Maybe in the future all these badges will be like this.
And right now, in this precise second, they are actually talking about building the HCPP NFC badge, which is Michael Schlaw from Benewitz. So if you think that our talk is boring, we'll go over to
Switch
the parallel
channels.
right now.
But don't forget to hit that subscribe button and the bell,
Yeah.
so you get the notifications.
Absolutely.
So I'm intrigued. But in terms of the ATMs, what's the most sophisticated scam or that you've seen in terms of ATMs? Because obviously you can get card readers in the normal ATMs. Have you seen anything that's that advanced yet in terms of?
Yeah, not too long ago. I think one of the main, ZDNet. One of some publications, they had this vulnerability in Bitcoin ATMs. They can be hacked, and they come with an EMV chip card and everything. And they hinted that it would be like General Bytes machine. So we checked out the dark market where this was sold, and we checked out the listing. We checked out the seller of that exploit. He wanted $25,000 for it, which is quite a lot, but not if it would really work. We had to check, but it was pretending to be a hack for our ATMs. But our ATMs don't have an EMV chip reader. They don't use those cards at all. There's nothing. It was just a hoax. So by creating a listing on the dark web, then getting mainstream media to report some FUD, then get some would-be thieves to be stupid enough to send the scammer 25K. That was his way of making money. And then, maybe they got some EMV card in the mail, but don't count on it working. It was impossible. It was basically telling people that once you scan this card, you will get into the operator panel where it will be a free spit out all the money button. Well, it's crypto. There is no money dispensed ever without first confirming the crypto on the blockchain. So it was a scam. That's like the scam that pretended to hack ATMs. It kept me busy because I had to read. It's copy-paste journalism nowadays. People don't check any facts. Dark web, many of reporters have never visited, or they can't admit that they visited.
They visited for other reasons.
And then we're totally shocked, switch off the computer.
I'm shocked that there's gambling in this establishment.
It's happening. So that's one of the scams. Another scam we see more common, and it's unfortunately it's people that have no idea what crypto is. They get a demand letter from the government.
There it is.
That they have to pay X amount, and they have to pay it at the payment terminal, and then scan the following QR code, which is basically the address of the scammer. And it's primarily old people that fall for it. And even most operators have big stickers on there, like do not pay any bills on this machine.
Tax,
only use your own wallet. But still, people don't read. So.
A friend of mine has an ATM in his shop. It's kind of like a convenience store, and he says there's been 5 or 6 people that come in, and they're generally older, and they're nervous, and they're on the phone, and they won't talk to him. And he's like, "Why is this guy on the phone shoving cash bill after cash bill in his machine?" And like you're saying, it's these scams where they scare people because no one pays their taxes right. Everyone tries their best,
Yeah, I'm
but
also
everyone's
very
always
sure.
like, what if I didn't report this? What if I didn't report that? Or there's another version where they say they've kidnapped one of your loved ones, send us the money, and they will talk them out of thousands of dollars just pumping into those machines, because just like with the hacker example, one of the great things or bad things about Bitcoin is once it's sent like email, it's gone. So if you send yours to a hacker and he doesn't send you the hack, or the hack doesn't work, no customer service there. And the same for all of these scams where they say they're from the government or they say they've kidnapped. And it's very sad to see that these people's first introduction to cryptocurrency is losing thousands of dollars, sending it to a scammer. So try to stop them if you see them. Like Martin's saying, put a sign on your Bitcoin ATM, like the government doesn't take any tax money, don't pay any kidnappers with this money, think about what you're doing. But they're in such a tizzy when they're doing this, they've lost all their mind, and they're going to put that money in no matter what.
And it's not really bad for Bitcoin and crypto in general. If their first, as you say, the first experience with crypto is
losing.
losing money, that will also cause problems for the community as a whole. So I think we have like a terms of service that you can say, I want to buy, sell, read terms of service, or don't have a wallet, these different buttons. Our operators, if they start a TNC with an exclamation mark, then it forces them to actually press accept.
Yes.
But it's like the iTunes agreement. Did you ever read
They
that?
just no, of course not.
No,
They just
Kenny
page
tells
through all
a South
that.
Park episode
Yeah.
on this. But Kenny
Yeah.
Oh, the
read it.
human sentai.
You
Excellent.
agree? You accept? Yeah.
But on the going back to what we said earlier about the community self-regulating, that exact story I heard as well from the same guy.
Yeah.
And what he did was he tried to convince the lady in this specific example that she didn't need to send this person Bitcoin. And in the end, he thought, I don't want to lose money, and he turned the machine off.
Yeah.
And that's kind of you've got to try and just sort of educate people, but sometimes they can't, and so you've got to go through the extremes of sort of shutting the ATM off to avoid
unplugging it. Yeah, just going for it.
Max went to Riga and you got a cold or not?
All he brought back. Yeah.
Well, here on these great ships, right, there are these buttons to enable the NFC tag or antenna. And you have under your skin, right?
Yeah,
you have
like-
NFC chips
oh, wow,
as well.
yeah.
A
no.
ring, a skin, everywhere.
But the question is, are there some buttons here as well, or how do
No,
you make
no.
sure that no one is stealing your crypto?
Yeah, Thomas asked last year, but it's like the size of a grain of rice.
Wow.
The antenna is like really small, and a friend of mine is a biohacker, Amal Graafstra. He's got this website, Dangerous Things, where you can also get like magnet implants for your fingers, so you can become like the real Magneto. These have tiny antennas, and because they're like encased with blood, or there's water around them, it's really hard to scan them. And you can scan them, it's a bit fiddly, but that's like, part of the security. Nowadays the whole world knows I got them, so I usually store business cards on them.
Let them steal your business card.
I think that's
Yeah,
great, because
exactly right.
if you scan the business card, and you give me a card,
Mm-hmm.
and I decide to call you, then you won't see my number, you'll see my name.
There it
So
is.
even if you think, who's Martin, I don't know, and you'll pick up and say, hey Martin, long time no see, because that's you're like already in their phone, and this works for that. The ring I thought was handy for the point of sale terminal, but quite honestly, I use this one now because it's the new one, It's just the new one.
All right,
we got our next guest.
thanks so much, Martin, for joining
Thanks,
us.
guys. It's
Remember, General Bytes, Bitcoin ATM, sponsored the conference. Support them. And maybe we'll get you back on here a little later, talk more about the
Absolutely.
chips. and
With
stuff.
there.
That sounds great.
It was a pleasure to meet you.
Thank you
Thanks
so
so
much,
much.
Martin. Great having you.